it with what's essential, okay? What's essential? What are some of the heaviest, the most crucial topics that the trustee development program over the next couple of years needs to focus on? Now, we want the big stuff now, and we're going to have Jessica come up here and stick a mic in Greg's nose so that everybody can hear what Greg's going to tell us, okay? And beware of Jake, he has a mic too. Okay, actually this will help us keep track of each other. Go ahead.
Okay, so we had 2 board members present at our table, and one felt that we need public support in every sense of the word. I mean, that's essential. Public support. And then the second was equality or balance of revenue and expenses. And one of our board members has been in the private sector for many years, and he views that as crucial. And that we, in evaluating programs, we have to look at what programs are making money. Are there programs that we need to subsidize? It's important to know what the numbers are to make the decisions with respect to maintaining, eliminating, and developing new programs. So
what he's saying here is important, that you got to pay the bills and the college has to be in the black, but it doesn't have to be in the black on every program. You just said that, right? We got to get the trustees to understand it's not every tub on its own bottom, because it's a whole lot more complex than that. You can be losing a lot of money on your nursing program and still it's the main reason people support your college, to go back to your first point. So think of it as something that's actually a plus rather than a negative. But when the whole bottom line gets awash in red ink, that's where the president gets nervous, right? They used to tell us in graduate school that the best way to lose your job as a president is to get the college in serious financial problems, right? So on the bottom line, that's where the board needs to focus. And yet, haven't you ever seen boards focus not on the bottom line, but instead on a top line? Like, why are we buying all of our lawnmowers from Jake's Lawnmower Service when we could be buying them? They're on sale at Kmart and stuff like. I've actually heard trustees bring that up. And maybe it's an important point, and maybe it's a minor financial point, but it's not your point. Right, Greg? Okay, thanks. Good job. Anybody else have what's essential? Who else? Okay, what'd you find out? And we need a microphone up here, too. Jake's got one for you.
Well, actually, our group was more in the ivory tower. We didn't talk money. We talked about how important it was to have student success criteria, and to have a faculty committed to student success, to have a board understand the labor-intensive process of teaching versus just focused on a business model, understanding.
You mean trustees need to understand that teaching is labor-intensive, even though I'm only teaching 15 credit hours? That's not a light work week. Right? That's what you're saying.
Well, it depends on who you're talking to.
Depends on what faculty member you're talking about. But that's true. It's a different culture, right? The academic culture is a different culture, and trustees need to jump in and learn it before they start criticizing it too harshly. It's okay to criticize it, but make sure you understand it before you start questioning it, all right? And that's one of the things that the trustees of New Jersey could teach each other. Well, go ahead.
And also understanding the importance of faculty influence on students. Having reliable metrics to gauge student success, the importance of...
More than just enrollment. How's the enrollment doing? Other metrics. Trustees are going to have to get familiar with other metrics. And sometimes the metrics, the 4 or 5 really essential ones, are displayed on every board agenda as a dashboard. Anybody doing that? It would be so that every time you go to a board meeting, you get the readout on this and this and this, and it could be transfer success, it could be faculty retention, whatever you want. You pick the big 4 or 5, put them at the top of the board agenda, and every time you get into the car, you see the dashboard. Every time you get into the boardroom, you see how the college is doing on those key metrics. Go ahead.
Understanding the importance of student support services that have to reach students with all different needs coming from all different circumstances to help them reach their goals. The need to be informed about local decision making at the college level so they can advocate wisely. Having taking time to periodically step back from the business of the board to remember that what's important is really the student. And to have a strong relationship between the board and the president, and both being committed to the same thing, which is the mission of the college.
And which is the students, right? The student success. All kind of fits together here. Thank you very much. I like what you said about the local control angle. One of the, I've got the slide up here that I skipped over before, but I wanted to remind you that as you come up with as you're devising solutions to these essential issues, you got some arrows in your quiver already. You got the Council of County Colleges, which is a great resource. You can always call and ask for help. Like one of the issues that you just identified for us, Pat, was the importance of student success, right? So if there's a question about how are other colleges measuring student success and the president and the board want to know, one of the ways to find out is to ask the council. They probably know, or they know who could help you out, right? They're kind of information central. No state community college board in New Jersey means that you don't have to spend 50% of your time fighting with the bureaucracy above you. You can spend all of your time working with the local power structure, right? And convincing people, wasn't that your point, Glenn? That the important thing about the boards in the current environment is we're going to have to somehow, it's Greg, right? But we're going to have to somehow get connected with the local opinion makers, right? So local opinion shifts in favor of, so everybody's walking around saying, you know, Rutgers is fine, but I'll tell you that Burlington County College is maybe even doing it better. You know, if that were to be the common view, football programs notwithstanding, and see, they're measuring by football scores, aren't they? Who did Rutgers beat this year? It's hard. Nobody? Well, I wasn't following them that closely. But in terms of, you know why I went to Duke University as a graduate school? I hate to admit it, but I do admit it. Basketball, right. I had never seen such great shooting in my life. I watched an ACC tournament, and I said, I have to go to school there. And I did. I spent 2 years of my life living in Durham, North Carolina. I fortunately got a pretty good education while I was there. But to think that I was a fairly smart guy. If smart people like me, college graduates, are going to select colleges based on win-loss basketball records, then you know a lot of other people are too, right? So that's what we're pushing against. We somehow have to connect with the community. What's even more important than a basketball team, though? How about jobs? Yeah, didn't Obama just find that out about a month ago? You know, even his best friends are saying, you know, we should have been thinking more about jobs. That's what really people worry about. And you're the job masters. I mean, you could pull the levers like being in Las Vegas and it would go ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching all night long because you can outperform just about anybody in terms of the job factor. And it's a matter of how do we get the president to get this? We need the president to quit worrying about the faculty debate about what's the importance of American history, whether it should be counted as a humanities or not. She spent 3 hours last night worrying about that. She should have been worrying about jobs because that's what's important to the people. That's what presidents want out of the trustees, isn't it? They want to know what are the people. What was that song from Camelot? I wonder what the king is doing tonight. Only the king is worried about what the people are doing, right? He's really, and the presidents need the trustees to function as their eyes and ears of the community. And if jobs are important, then that's something that the trustees are going to have to work on. It's going to have to be a trustee thing. Okay, what's essential? Yes.
Okay, so I'm here with a group of trustees, and as good trustees, they're letting the president get up and talk. Okay. First thing, we started talking first about the big ideas, and the trustees all agreed that in order for us to move forward with any plan, there needs to be buy-in from all of the trustees. Okay. Second thing is that trustees need preparation and information from their administration, from their presidents. No surprises.
Understandable information, too. To go back to your financial point. When was the last time you, as a trustee, understood the financial report? You know, a lot of people, really honest trustees, would say, man, it looks like it was prepared by a CPA for another CPA. But there ought to be a prize in New Jersey for the most generally understandable financial report from a community college, a county college. Wouldn't that be great? You win? Okay, good. Well, if you know how to do it, then they are the people to talk to, right? They'll show you how to do it. All right.
Well, I guess following up on that, the next thing we talked about was communication. And there needs to be good communication, not only between the board and the president, but between the president and the whole college community. Right. Constant communication. We all know We've always heard all the time, like, why didn't you tell me about that? And you say to someone, you just received 50 emails about that. Ah, but I didn't open them.
And in appropriate venues, too. Trustees need to know when to ask the candid question and when not to ask the candid question, right? Glenn and I were talking about the fact that a friend of ours has just got himself into trouble. He's a college president for saying something he shouldn't have said in public about an embarrassing situation at the college. Presidents need to learn how to button the lip sometimes, and trustees do too. Wearing dark glasses and saying, I have no comment about that, I would not recommend that. A much better approach is just to say, I'm sorry, I can't talk about that. Didn't you have empathy with me when I said that? I could just see your heart's bleeding. As I told you, I can't talk about that. Poor Gary can't talk about that. But that seals it, right? I don't have to talk about it. So know where to talk about what and when. Yes?
That gets to our next point, which was that the administration needs to be accessible. It's essential for trustees to know that their administration is accessible.
To the trustees or to the other people?
To the college community.
To the college community, okay, all right.
The trustees were very impressed that in looking at the big ideas, there was a call for volunteers so that there's a sense of inclusiveness, because it's not only trustees and presidents who are working on the big ideas, but administrators, faculty, students, we hope, at some point.
Opportunities for cooperation. And the cooperating tables are going to tell us who those people are. Go ahead.
Advocacy. I think the other groups talked about that the trustees need to and want to be advocates just like the college presidents. As presidents, we always go out and we talk to the public, and of course the public knows that we are going to be advocates for the college. But if the trustees can join us in that, we can help get the word out.
Let me have you stop right there. Look down your list, because you got a list there in front of you, right? Pick out the one that's the most important. Most essential. No, you got to do it.
Communication is always the key.
Communication? Okay. All right. Good. That might be the most essential, according to this table over here anyway. How about first? Where do you start? What's the very first thing the trustees ought to tackle?
The first one is to start by discussing the undiscussable, be candid and cut to the real issues. And one of the real issues when we were talking was about student success, and to talk realistically about the starting point. You know, what is a student and what constitutes enrollment, and then maybe play a little less head counts with a little less politics with some of the head count games.
And the reason it's what'd you call it, an unaskable question? What was the phrase you just used? Undiscussable is because my friend here, Ralph, says you can't expect a universally positive reaction if you stand up in public and say, we really don't know what we're doing here. You know, we really don't know whether our students got any jobs or not, right? We don't have any idea why there's this big gap between the high school ending point and our starting point. I mean, shouldn't you have asked that question like maybe 20 years ago? So work out a strategy on that. Back to communications, okay? You know, we got a communications expert sitting right back here by the camera, and she will tell you how to answer that question. Why haven't you people addressed these questions before now, right? Somebody in the communications world needs to play that around and help the trustees understand the best way of approaching that. Otherwise, you're going to look like dummies, right? And you're not dummies. That would be untrue. You would be giving a false impression to the public, and it wouldn't do anything for the college's reputation either. So you may be right about communication being tougher than we think it is. Yeah, go ahead, Glenn.
I just had two more. One is to look at the real issue, and we think it really it may be well phrased by the Obama agenda of student success, and to embrace that as a goal with some hard metrics to do it. And then the last one is how to get the entire board involved in this. You know, if you look at this group tonight, there are 19 county colleges and 11 people, and there's a lot more trustees than are here, so it's how to get the others involved and then focus on the real issue. And a phrase that was used that I really liked that somebody used at our table here is not to get lost on the tyranny of the urgent, to look at some of the broader issues and keep the focus, keep the eye on the prize.
Right. My first wife, with whom I'm still great friends and we talk a lot, likes to continually tell the story about when she was a pre-med student at Wheaton College in Illinois. She was having trouble with chemistry, so after all of her classes, she'd run back to her room, and guess what she would do? Clean the room. She said, I had the cleanest room on Wheaton College campus. She flunked chemistry. ended up being a lawyer instead of a doctor. But see, it was the major, it was the important that got ignored and the urgent that got tackled, right? If there was a dust ball over there, it had to be done right now, and the really heavy lifting never got done. So trustees have to make sure that we're dealing with the heavy lifting. And I say something about that in the slides, especially the newer trustees who are coming on boards are a little unhappy with the time wasted at board meetings. They think too much stuff is being done with happy talk and fluff and stuff, and the big questions, Ralph, the questions we should have tackled 20 years ago, are not getting attacked. And maybe they're not getting attacked is because we don't know the right way to frame them communications-wise so that we can understand them well and sell our approach to the public. So anyway, it's the heavy stuff has been a problem in that we've tended to avoid it. Okay, last question was who are we cooperating with? Who, I know I didn't get to some of the tables. I apologize for that. I talked too much. Yes, yes, cooperation.
Okay. We decided to go with build and enhancing relationships instead of cooperation. And we listed several groups, and one, and not in the order of importance, freeholders, because it's a great opportunity for us to get some economic development, and by ensuring if they have all the information that they need to make the case for the college, then that would lead to them being advocates with us. And another group is administration, by supporting the president when he or she is dealing with issues. Understand that be realistic board members, and the responsibilities that we have with the college. And we could do this through formal channels or informal channels, such as trustees attending events at the college, not just graduation, to be in support of the administration, because this is like being totally engaged in the process, and that way we would become knowledgeable and we are better advocates. Another area is the linkage with K-12. Make sure that we are on the same wavelength about common goals for education.
Does this mean that the county college board would sit down with the local high school board, or what? You didn't get that far?
No, we didn't get that far.
Might, though. That's a possibility, right? Doesn't always have to be done president to president. The problem is, if you try that, what's going to happen? It's going to be a tea and cookies, aren't we nice and don't we love you meeting, right? Instead of getting down to the brass tacks, the heavy lifting. Maybe we got a problem here we need to talk about. So, yeah, the undiscussable. So it's okay to be nice, but take a lesson from me, the guy without any empathy. Don't take it too far. You know, don't just make it a tea and cookies kind of relationship, because that's a surface relationship, right? Good relationships, you get down to the meaty stuff, right? And that's what you have to do. Yes.
Okay. Connect with the county college, New Jersey County College, this group, and the ACCT boards. We find that some trustees, new or old, don't get involved in these type of meetings, and we need to do that.
Use your associations, use your councils. Yeah.
And then the Chamber of Commerce or the local business community to ensure that we have the correct courses at our school. And just one more. You're giving me that look.
That's good. No, that's good. No, the look I'm giving you is that when I used to lobby for the community colleges in Illinois, I didn't do this so much in Michigan, but I should have. A lot of times when we go in and lobby for a bill, we would not even be in the front row. We would be sitting behind the guy from John Deere or the guy from Caterpillar. And the legislature thought that this bill, this education training bill, was being pushed by Caterpillar. How could they say no to Caterpillar, one of the world's great corporations? That's right. And we're hiding behind them saying, keep going, it's going our way. And eventually the legislature embraced the idea. But it was because we were being served by an advocate with whom we'd build a relationship, the Caterpillar Corporation. So
okay. And finally, the foundation board. Trustees need to get more active with the foundation board. Just don't go to the annual meetings, but have liaisons, but all of the trustees get involved, and that's going to help the college.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how nationwide our foundations are so unimpressive. I mean, we have some great foundations in community colleges in America, but nothing to compare with Harvard's, what, $268 billion portfolio or something, even approaching that. So, and we ought to be able to reach out. We've been in business for a long time, right? The first community college was founded in the year 1901, so we've been around over 100 years. We've got people start corporations, leave them to their sons, they've left them to their sons. Why don't they give us back some of the money? You know, we need to find out who these people are who prospered because of the community college and reach out and build that relationship.